Hey everyone, it's Hannah Bianca Gant. I'm super excited to be with you all once again. I'm super excited about this particular video because this is one of the questions that I get on an ongoing basis, like over and over and over again. But it's also one of the topics that I happen to be really, really good at knowing. That topic is, how do I get new HR clients? Right? So with that being said, again, if this is your first time watching the video, I am Hannah Bianca Gant. I am the Chief HR Strategist for Career Image Solutions. So years ago, I decided I was going to go into HR, and I was working in nonprofit HR. I went on to work in Fortune 500 companies, and even went off into working for the federal government. Well, I realized, I forgot what year it was, but I realized that I had an entrepreneurial bug. Okay, and to be quite frank, it's not that I really saw myself. It's not that I saw myself. Necessarily leaving my job. I loved what I did. I loved the people that I worked with. But I was just, I always had like a side hustle. Well, make a long story short, my husband and I made a decision for me to walk away from my full-time government job in HR, and I have since replaced my full-time income, and now teaching others how to do the same with what they know in HR. How do you monetize what you know in HR and turn that into a successful side hustle? How do you take what you know in employee relations and turn that into a successful business? So regardless of what your desire is, what your end goal is, you can make it fit whatever you want, just because you are an expert, or you have a great knowledge in human resources. Now, grant, I know that HR is changing by the day with definitions, but there's one thing that remains the same. When people don't know what the director of people is, people say, oh, it's HR. So I'm using HR, if that's okay with you all. Our goal at Career Image Solutions is to bring the human back into human resources. In fact, we are currently hiring some HR consultants on the team. So super excited. We should be making our final selection, but we're looking to grow and expand as we continue to get new clients and things of that nature. So that's one of the topics that I wanted to just share with you all briefly, is how to get new clients. This can be a webinar all by itself, which it will be. And this is one of the topics that I cover in our upcoming coaching program, Entrepreneur Bootcamp program. It's called Hire Yourself, How to Monetize What You Know in HR. So if you want more information, make sure you check out the description below. We're starting pretty soon, so you want to get a hold of that. All right, so with that being said, one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today, about how to get new clients. Again, I have a list of 9 ways that you get new clients, that we get new clients. But the way that I'm going to talk about today, in case your attention span is like mine, is visibility. And you might be like, what in the world? Visibility? Yes, visibility. So knowing, being an expert in HR is not enough to run a business in HR, right? The bottom line is that running a business, it takes a lot more acumen. It's you cannot be in business if you don't have new clients, because at that point it's just a hobby. So visibility, from what and again, this is probably just a newer aha moment for me and our team, in that I thought that being good was enough, and it took us to a certain point. By all means, for those of you that know my story, you know that I started out just offering resume services and then interview coaching services, so on and so forth. And as a result of that, it just kind of took a world of its own through word of mouth, referrals, things of that nature. But you all know, if you were in HR, you know how it is. People are automatically asking you, can you take a look at my resume? Do you know anybody hiring? Right? So that's how I got started. Never knew that it would evolve into what Career Image Solutions is today. Yeah, I'm just super, super blessed and honored. But getting new clients is something that is critical to to your lifeline in business, whether it's your side hustle, whether it's your full-time income. Again, I mentioned, whether your goal is to create opportunities for other people, or your goal might be, hey, listen, I have some things coming up. I have children that's about to go off to college. I need to make sure that I have my side. Hey, I need to make sure I have my side hustle, or I'm getting ready to go into retirement. I need to make sure that I'm working towards something to build. Whatever your reason is, just know that you can do it. So let's talk, shall we, about visibility. And again, I didn't really grasp this concept. I knew about it, but I didn't know that there were mechanics surrounding what visibility looks like in business. I'm going to make this very practical for you because I know how our HR brains work. Okay. Think about the individual in your workplace, right? Because many of you might be still working full time, which is totally fine. I replaced my income while I was still working part time, by the way. So imagine at your place of employment, okay, you have two employees. One person does a really good job, but stays at their desk, does not interact, does not engage. But you ask them to do something, they are always on it. You don't have to go behind them. You have another person who's always on it, the same thing, right? They might not even do things perfect all the time. However, they are, who they are. They are visible. They are talking to the right people. You see them at staff meetings. You see them at company events, whereas this other person who does a really great job, perfect all the time. I know a person like that doesn't exist, right? I'm by no means near perfect, but imagine the person that does a really great job all the time. They never come to staff meetings. They never come to the company outings. They never, who do you think is going to go? Who do you think may get that promotion if they had to pick between the two people? And again, I know there are certain circumstances. The one who's more visible, and that's just the bottom line, right? When you are visible, you can't attract new clients if they don't know that you exist. If you're not showing up with who you are, right? And showing up, it's a number of different things, but know that your brand, you have to start, showing up even at work, depending on what you do, showing up after work. I'm a big advocate of you participating in professional associations, your local meetup groups, whatever it is, but you have to show up. You have to be visible. People cannot say that they can't purchase services from you if they don't know that you're offering services. I used to think that having a website was good enough. No, it is not good enough. How do they even know to look you up? Now, if you have a great webmaster, as I do, now I have a great web support team. If you all need some feedback about that, let me know. Not feedback, but resources. But I just realized my earring wasn't in my ear. Let me put that on for you guys. But if you all, now I know if you have a website, you can get some great SEO, you can get searched and things of that nature, but you still even think about it, even from a practical standpoint online. You have to be visible online for people to find you, right? So you have visibility. Visibility is super, super awesome. I recently did a book collaboration with the renowned Cheryl Wood, and I wrote a chapter in the book. The book title is called Entrepreneurial Elevation. And I talked about ways to hire on a budget, right? It was for entrepreneurs. And one of the things that she said that was super, super profound is that visibility trumps ability any day, right? Visibility trumps ability. I was so stuck, and I truthfully, I really do believe that I probably could have been further from where I am if I was able to, if I was more visible, right? I was so focused on being perfect that I forgot about being visible. I was so focus on, I need to make sure this is together. I need to make sure this is together. I need to make sure this is together. I need da 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 da. And mind you, all of those things are important because when the business shows up, you need to have those documents. You need to have your agreements in place. You need to have how you're getting paid. You need to have, who you're collaborating with because there are big contracts like that we're pursuing now. They want to know who's on your team. You can't just be a one woman, one man shop, right? So all of those things are important, but I was so pressed about perfection that I didn't show up. And if you're anything like me, it's just like, listen, I'm just great at HR. I'm just trying to show up and do the work. So there are different types of people, right? There are some people that are like, hey, I don't necessarily want to do the business side. I just want to show up and do the work. If that is you, then what I would recommend is that you partner with another firm like us, when you partner with someone, so that way the work can just be directed to you, right? So that's what we do. We have some HR consultants. We get assignments, we get projects, and we're actually looking to hire some full-time employees next year. But we make sure that it goes to you because like, hey, you're like, hey, I love HR. I'm an HR expert and that's what I want to do. I don't necessarily want to do all the business side of the house, right? Because again, it is a different beast. It's not something that's hard to do, but I truly do believe that you need to be called to business if you're going to be if you're in this to start a business, if you're in this to start a company, if you're in this to start a side hustle, nothing wrong with it. I'm telling you, I'm like, that's what I thought it was going to be. You don't have to necessarily invest in some of the other things that you would need to do if you were hiring, if you were building a company, right, that you wanted to pass on to generation to generation. So again, if that is you, you're like, hey, I'm just really great at HR. If someone could just send me the clients, that's all I really want. If that's you, then that's what I would say. Recommend you collaborating with other HR consulting firms, and just figuring out how you can, work out some type of deal with people that are that way. With us, we just work out a percentage. And if we provide you with the client, then we take a percentage, you take a percentage, and we still collaborate. You still get to utilize our resources. So you don't have to really do all of that level of investment. We give you we'll give you a website, all types of different things, right? So you don't have to necessarily worry about that. But if I'm talking to someone like me that that you've been called to business, you've been called to build an enterprise, then you want to just keep in mind that you need to be visible. People need to know that you exist. You need to show up in your best self literally all the time. And again, I want to encourage you that the pressure is not for perfection. But remember what Cheryl Wood, as I mentioned, the quote that she mentioned earlier, visibility beats ability. Trump's ability is not, is what she said, Trump's ability any day. So you want to be cognizant of that. How do you show up? When are you showing up? Are people knowing about your services, right? Are people knowing about what you offer? Are people aware that you are even in business, that this is your desire? Are you connecting? Are you masterminding with the right people that can push you to the next level? So for example, I have a mastermind group that if we don't do what we said we're going to do, the accountability is real, right? You get a phone call, you get a text, you're like, hey, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Right. So all of that stuff is just very, very important. If you struggle with visibility because you're so used to being a backbone for an organization, trust me, I still struggle through that. I have to push myself. And it's truly because of the accountability that I have now with my mastermind group that I'm able to like show up and do videos because I would much rather just talk to people directly, touch and feel them. So if you ever heard of the 5 love languages, my love language is physical touch. So I would rather touch you, give you a hug, so it's difficult to do that sometimes doing video. But again, I have to show up. I have to be visible. How would you know that I existed if I didn't show up? So that's my tip for you all today. Visibility, again, I got that from Cheryl Wood. I want to give credit where credit is due. Cheryl Wood says visibility trumps ability. So again, if you have a business already and you're not showing up, I'm encouraging you to show up, become visible. If you are still in the planning stages of trying to start your own HR company, you're still working, definitely this is still a good tip for you. But if you're like, hey, listen, I don't necessarily know if I'm ready for the business side of HR just yet. I want to start a business, but I would much rather, I would really like it if I could just be a consultant or either way, right? It's still about getting new clients. It's still about getting new clients. So if that's you, I would strongly recommend that you partner with the HR firm, either like ours, someone else in your local neighborhood, does, local community. It really doesn't matter. But I also want to encourage you, if you are an expert in HR, if you are the go-to person at your job currently, and you are like, man, there are ways for me to, I really want to see if I could do this on my own. I really want to get some part-time income. I really want to be able to build a legacy. I really want to build a side hustle. Whatever your reason is, if you are interested in starting an HR consulting company, offering any type of service, I want you to make sure that you check out the description below. We have a HRpreneur boot camp that is starting soon. And if you email us in enough time, we do have a wonderful discount code for you. But it's going to be an awesome program, and you want to check out the details. So again, look at the description link below and find out more information. But if you have any questions, my information is also below. So check the description link in below if you want to reach out to us to find out more information about the program, or just if you want to connect about, hey, how to start an HR company. I would be more than happy to be able to provide you with some resources on what to do, which is why I do some of these videos, because frankly, when I got started, and it hasn't been that long ago, there wasn't really anybody in the space offering this type of expertise. So I thought that this would be a great way, because I knew that I wasn't by myself. And thank you all so much for like the inboxes. I'm emailing people, I'm talking to people, and now I know that I'm like not by myself. So you can get far by yourself, but you go even further with a group of people that are aligned in the same vision. So again, I hope that this tip encouraged you. I hope that it blessed you. Know that people cannot see you if you don't show up. So that is one of the ways that you get new clients, is by you being visible. So would you just put all of the baggage aside, put it down, and stand up firm, show up, be visible. There are people that are assigned directly to you that are waiting for you, but they're waiting for you to show up. So until next time, don't forget to command your day. Check out the description below.